What's up, everybody? Keeping it real fishing here. Want to show you a swim bait today. Today we're going to take a look at the Decoy Swimbaits 5-inch Hydra Tail. And just take a look at that thing. A lot of detail on this one. I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm not a swim bait aficionado. I don't have a ton. I think we've all heard of some of the big names. Huddleston, of course. Castaic. They've been around for a while making some great swim baits. And they're expensive. They are, as far as I'm concerned, expensive for single lures. Now I'm on the East Coast, I'm in New Jersey, and where these things really seem to find their niche is in the big sizes, the 6-inch, the 8-inch, even some of the bigger ones, for some really, really big bass. So in New Jersey, we don't have, you know, those 10, 15, 20-pound bass. So I wanted to try one of these really unique swim baits out. Or not unique, but these really highly detailed swim baits out. And I came across this brand, and I was really impressed by the exceptional level of realism on this particular bait. So I wanted to show you guys this. If you haven't seen these already, just give you a close-up. Let's start off with the packaging, actually, because there's a small element to the packaging which I think is nice. Again, these baits are, this one's not as much as some, but all these really high detail swim baits are pretty expensive. And what I like that they did with this is right here there's a little piece, just a very, very small piece, but it keeps the tail from flopping over or getting messed up during shipment. See how that just sits in there? And so now the tail can't get bent over or crunched or anything else. So small piece, little things make a big difference. I'm glad they put that in there. Okay, let's take a look at this guy here. So there he is. This is the Decoy, and this is a 5-inch bait. I'll just lay it down in my hand. So real looking. I feel like I actually, if I just cover up the hook, I feel like it's a fish. This lure weighs 1 ounce even. And let's take a look at some of the main features here. So you have, from the factory, you have the single hook on top. I would guess that to be, hard to say with the body there, but probably like a 5/0 hook. Don't know the brand, doesn't say on any of the packaging, but it comes very, very sharp, so that's good. Extremely sharp. The line tie, as you can see, is very, very recessed. You can't even actually see the hole through it. You actually would have to push it down to make your way through, and that actually is the way they come from the factory. You can look at Tackle Tour. Tackle Tour, of course, has the best reviews out there. Love them. They reviewed this bait, gave it an 8.17, which got it a great designation. And the reason I mention all that is because when I was reading the review, they were noticing the same thing, that the line tie, just the way that the lure is molded, they're all like that. They're very, very deeply recessed. You kind of have to push things down to get your line in there. So that's just the way it's supposed to be. You could let's take a nice look there at all that detail. It's almost as if the individual scales are simulated. You can see that reflectiveness of the silver. Really, really nice. On the bottom, it does not come with the hook, but obviously you can see you have your guide there, your tie, if you want to put on, let's say, a treble hook. And that's pretty much it. Let's give you the top profile and the bottom profile. You have some fins. These are attached to the body. These are not attached. They come off just a little bit. And you have the single fin down there. So this bait here has a very unique tail. Let's take a look at that. Let's start from the back. From the back, you can see it's kind of like an hourglass shape. And then if you look at it from a downward motion, it's kind of like a pendulum almost. So it's a very unique shape. It's kind of angular, but cut out in the sides there. It's just something different I haven't really seen before. And from the side, you have that sloping up, both on the top and the bottom, or, you know, sloping that way. So how this lure swims is the design of it, and it actually says as much here on the packaging, and I'll just kind of rehash it for you. Casteic's purpose in designing this lure was to have a bait where the first 3/4 of it basically stays straight. So this thing is not going to be doing one of these in the water. It's not meant to. All this right here stays perfectly stationary. And it's just the last part here that's going to be moving. Their reasoning there was they were saying, you know, in normal fish, when they're swimming by, real fish don't undulate their whole bodies. Not usually. Efficiency comes from being streamlined. And if you're going back and forth, you're creating all kinds of drag. Plus, you know, shortest distance between two places is a straight line. So fish typically, it's, you know, a thrash or two of the tail, and they move like a little dart in the water. You know, you've seen fish when they go. I guess someone could argue the opposite and say that, you know, that's how a healthy fish swims, but sick or injured fish might have more erratic movements, and hence some of the other swimming style baits on the market. But I'm just telling you, you know, what the manufacturer said about this one. This one was designed so that all this stays straight and just the tail moves. Now I'm going to grab something here right from Tackle Tour, being that I haven't fished this lure just yet, and I'll just kind of regurgitate it for you guys. They were very impressed by the tail. They said that even at very, very slow speeds, and apparently not all swim baits do this, at slow speeds you have full tail action. As full as it moves, the tail was moving. And then also at medium speeds, continued tail action, and then at high speeds, continued, you know, good tail action. With the difference being that at all speeds, it tracked true. It went straight. Like I said, I'm not a swim bait aficionado. I do have some, but even in the few that I have seen that. A lot of swim baits, it seems that they have a sweet spot. Some are meant to be slow rolled, others are meant to be burnt a little bit more, and if you take them out of their element, they behave erratically, which may or may not be a good thing, but you know, just so you know. But if you want something that's going to track true, apparently this bait can do it at both slow, medium, and fast speeds. So that's a pretty good thing. Just taking one last look at this guy here. One other thing I'd like to show you here is the, I'm going to hold it straight so that the tail is going straight to the sky now. And you can kind of see the density of the materials. So like if you were to try to bend this over, it's just going to come back. Either side you do it on. So that's just the nature of this bait. It's meant to be a little bit of a stiffer bait. And you can see just as I wag it there, that's probably going to be the same amount that's moving in the water. That has to do with the density of the plastic used and the thickness of it and the resilience of it. So that's probably going to be your motion right there. So we'll see how that works out. But the realism here and just the attention to detail, I'll try to give you a close-up, is absolutely spectacular. And I'm just really impressed by this one. And last thing I'll do is I'm just going to put it down. Again, this is a 5-inch lure, and for reference, I do love my Kytex. I'm just going to put 2 Kytex alongside of it. I have my favorites here. Bluegill Flash. So here's, just for a size reference, here's a 4.8-inch Bluegill Flash. Right, so that's about the same length, right? 4.8 versus 5. But you can see from the side profile how much more substantial the trout looks. If you're looking at it from above, it's going to be probably about the same as this, because this is pretty much a round lure. But from the side, it looks like a much larger meal. But it has the same approximate length. And then I also have the 5.8 swing impact fats. Really like these. Quite a profile in the water, and I'll just line that up there, and so you can see how that stacks up. You know what, let me put that one below it. 5.8-inch Kytex swing impact fat. So just to give you a little bit of perspective on where this swim bait comes in and you know, how it's going to look in the water at a 5-inch size. I guess what you're really getting there is that side profile. When you get these realistic looking swim baits as opposed to these kind of nondescript ones that are just more circular, there's a lot of these on the market. But when you get the ones that actually mimic fish, that side profile is always going to be much more significant than on these more tubular style ones. Alright everybody, so that's been the Decoy Swimbaits 5-inch Hydra Tail. Thanks for watching.